But yeah, no, Mangiapane, man, as each game passes, Brad Treliving should be like sweating bullets because this man is going to get paid in the offseason if he keeps this up. So I think all signs are pointing towards him probably keeping this up. He's shown no sign of slowing down since last season when he was good. He seems to be taking another step and amplifying his game even more. That trip to the Worlds, I think, really helped. He was, maybe put a little more respect on his name too from people outside of the market who didn't know who the heck Andrew Mangiapane was. He's been playing incredible. He's always hardest working flame, night in and night out, I think. And like I said, it's going to be tricky for Brad when it comes time to re-up this guy because he's going to need some extra zeros on his on his paychecks in order to keep him around. But what a story too! Like just picked, what was he picked, 6th round, I think. Walked onto the Barrie Colts, didn't even wasn't drafted in the OHL. Walked onto the Barrie Colts, first team all rookie in his first year with Barrie. Didn't get drafted in his first kick of the can in the NHL draft. Wasn't even recognized in NHL Central Scouting. And then now look at this guy. Like this guy's played with a chip on his shoulder his entire career. So I love it. I think the guy's great. I'm Italian, so knowing that he's doing the heritage proud is a good thing. My nonno and nonna love him because it's the only Italian player that they know. And no, it's great. And I'll stop pumping his tires a little bit here and talk about Lindholm, who again is proving how much of a sweetheart contract he's on with the scoring performance and the scoring rate that he's scoring at. And James, I haven't seen your tweets recently, but he was at one point on pace for I think 103 goals to start the year. He was on pace for that. So uh, definitely some good things coming out of his or off of his stick and the chances he generates. And talk about like another leader that doesn't have a letter. I think Lindholm is definitely he's leading by example, if not in the locker room, then by example on the ice. So big fan of his and super happy with everything so far that he's done.
Yeah, and
Yeah, James, maybe you can pull up some charts on them and have a look at their performances.
sure.
While you do that,
Yeah.
I just want to add that you mentioned the Mangiapane playing in the Worlds. The funny thing about him dominating the Worlds is he didn't even make the lineup to start. He
Yeah,
got
he
in,
was.
Yeah.
he got in because of an injury, didn't he?
Uh, I can't remember. I thought Dubé was the one who got in for the. Maybe I can't remember. You're probably right.
Oh,
I
okay,
didn't
maybe
follow
it's
it too
Dubé. Maybe
closely.
it's Dubé.
It might have been Dubé, but the thing too about Mangiapane is he missed like the first 2 or 3 games because he was
Yeah,
because the
Mhm.
Flames were still playing, and he had to go through COVID quarantine. So it
that's
was
right.
crazy, yeah, crazy, and he still performed the way he did, unreal.
Yeah, so just one more thing to add to Audie's point about Lindholm is, we got to thank him for bringing in Markstrom because they're
Yeah,
best friends
Swedish
outside of
connection.
hockey.
Yeah.
And he was a big proponent on why Markstrom signed here. But these are my favorite charts to look at because, it gives you a number value, 92 overall. It's just better to look at in my opinion, but they're made after the season. So this is for last season. So we can just
Okay.
see. I'll pull up the 2019, 2020 as well. Like,
So that
if
overall number, that would kind of be like his rating on NHL.
Right, exactly.
pretty much, yeah. It's a good way to look at it. It's in terms of analytics, it's a percentile number. So basically, Mangiapane is in the 92nd percentile of players. So a 92 overall in NHL 20 is a great way to put it. Like, if you can look at last season, I'll explain these charts a little bit as well. But the first two columns there are his offense, the second two are his defense. So the first column is his goals above replacement, and the second column is his expected goals above replacement. So we all know how good Mangiapane was last year, but he was expected to be like 5 times even better. Like, just looking at those two columns, like he's so good. And I always go back to a good buddy of ours, Flashlytics on Twitter, and he always
Mm-hmm.
describes Mangiapane the best, and he's a B, right? He's on the ice, he's disrupting, he's getting in your face, he's everywhere. Yeah, and like I when Calgary signed him to that 2-year deal, I wanted that deal to be 8 years because like looking at the numbers, he's consistently improved year after year. He started out in that fourth line role with Garnet Hathaway, and I'm forgetting their centerman, but he worked his way up. He started in the fourth line, and then he made his way up into the third line and second, right? Like he's just such a good hockey player, and there's not enough good things to say about him. And like I mentioned earlier, I wish they would have went 8 years with him a couple of years ago because that number probably would have started with a 4 on an 8-year term. Now you're probably looking at a 6 or a 7, maybe even. Who knows? But
Yep.
it's yeah, next off season is not going to be enjoyable. It's going to be stressful, but on the now, like both him and Lindholm are both rocking like 40% shooting percentages, right? So, I make my joke tweets because in the first 3 games, everybody always gets off to a good start. And, Mangiapane and Lindholm are both currently on pace for 82 goals this season. Obviously, I know that's not going to happen, but it's fun to joke about, right? Because they've gotten off to such good starts. And do I expect them to continually shoot 40%? No. They're obviously going to have some cold streaks, but they've both been phenomenal. And like Audie mentioned with Lindholm's contract, definitely a top 5 contract in the league by far. He is just so phenomenal. He's been amazing ever since Calgary acquired him. And, just nothing but good things to say about both of them.
So really quick on Mangiapane, and I'll ask you first, James. Does he crack the Team Canada lineup for the Olympics?
For the Olympics, that's a good question because I think their long list of players was already submitted on October 15th.
Which aren't made
So
public, by the way, which we
they
won't see
are.
those. They are?
Yeah. Oh,
Wait,
no,
are
they're
made
not.
public or they're not?
They're not made public.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm
No,
like, I'm pretty sure we don't see those.
No. So
no.
I don't think he's gonna make it just because I can't remember. I think Doug Armstrong is Canada's GM. I think he's going to lean towards more veteran players, players with reputations, which that's fine, right? Like we already saw John Tavares modeling the Team Canada outfits, and those are interesting. But anyway, which like I would personally put Mangiapane on Team Canada over John Tavares, but John Tavares is the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he's
Yeah.
making 11 million. So the Olympics are always more reputation based, which we saw with Seth Jones somehow being the first United States defenseman over Charlie McAvoy or Adam Fox, but
Jacob Slavin.
Jacob Slavin, Quinn Hughes, like
Like the list goes
list
Who
on
are
goes
and
those
on.
on.
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I don't think he's gonna make Team Canada. I wish he did. And if he continues on this pace and if they were submitting rosters, let's say in December 1st, maybe, but I don't think he'll make it, but he should.
Audie, what
Yeah.
do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make Team Canada. I think that he would get a long hard look at the 55 man list. Um, but I don't think that he's going to make this team. I think if we look like historically at how Team Canada's like composed, they not only do they like to bring veterans and guys like that, but they also like to bring guys who can play center and a wing. Like that Crosby, Marchand, Bergeron line. Uh, that's two centers and a winger there, right? Like you know what I mean? Like I think they like to bring more versatility. Like it's easy for a center to go play wing, but it's not always easy for a winger to go play center. If that makes obviously that's
Mm-hmm.
a little different there. I think that like lineup wise, it might be a little bit difficult for him to crack amongst some of the centers that are going to be playing wing for Team Canada.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling they're going to go center heavy and bring a lot of people who are naturally play center over to play wings or play on a wing. So I don't think he's going to make it over some of the likes of those players that we're going to see. But damn, like they probably thought long and hard about Andrew Mangiapane before they put their team together. I bet.